Good morning and welcome to Home and Gift Virtual and our opening session on visual merchandising. Combining a passion for products and retail with extensive knowledge, our expert, Kat McLennan, will guide you through the principles of visual merchandising, sharing skills, insight, tools and techniques to help you promote your craft, product or shop to achieve an on-trend and consistent look for retail displays for your shop or engaging social media for your brand, creating a signature style that attracts customers. Welcome, Kat.
So, hello everybody, and thank you for joining me today. And I just wanted to say a special thanks also to the Home and Gift virtual team for all the organisation and planning for this exciting virtual event. It's sad not to be face to face with everybody like we normally are, but it's really great to connect in this way. And I'm really looking forward to the next 3 days of exciting speakers. But first, just a little bit about me. So my name's Kat McLennan. I'm a visual merchandising consultant, and I work with brands to help them maximise sales and also maximise what the stores look like and how customers interact with your product. So I do that by designing window displays, store design, store layout, product assortments, and most importantly, training store teams so that they can implement and maintain the retail standards, because that's a really important part of the process. So I'm going to talk for about 20-25 minutes. But I'm really excited to have any feedback from everyone listening and any questions that you've got. So please put them in the chat as we go, and we'll make time to answer as many of those as we can at the end. And also just to let you know that the presentation that I'm going to show will be available to download as well. So again, the link to that will be shared in the chat. So I'm going to talk to you about how to engage your customers and make sales. So the world of retail, as we know, has changed rapidly and extensively over the last few months. And as we're reopening, we're just adapting and having to continually change to different situations. Some of the things that we've implemented are going to stick, and some of them are going to be temporary and not be lasting. But all the trends that were evolving in the retail sector before the pandemic are still relevant, and in fact everything has been absolutely accelerated by this. So brands and retailers that are able to move quickly and change rapidly are the ones that are going to win. So I really believe that they are the smaller independent retailers and brands, because you're able to move and change things much quicker than big brands. So there's a big opportunity to make retail really work for you. So as customers, we're still understandably quite nervous about going out into the world, but we're also really craving human connection. We're desperate to get back to some sort of normality, and are excited by every new little thing that we're able to do. So again, I think this looking forward a few months into the future is like a massive opportunity, because I think Christmas is going to be a really key time, and I'm sure you're already planning for this. But I do believe that this Christmas especially, people are going to want to pull out all the stops and make it a really special Christmas. So again, there's a huge opportunity for retailers to help customers make this Christmas the special one that they want it to be. So physical retail needs to be absolutely exceptional to encourage people to shop. We have to make it so they want to come into your shop, otherwise they might as well just sit at home on the computer and order, still from you maybe, but online. How can we get them to come into the shop and give them something different there that they're not getting from an online experience? So I'm going to take you through 4 main things that I think you should concentrate on to help with this. The first one is to create inspiring product stories. The most important thing, to make sure you've got the right product merchandised together with the right things in the right place in your store. Planning your store layout and visual merchandising principles. So once you've got your product stories, you need to really carefully plan where they're going to go and what they're going to look like in the store. So we're going to talk a bit about that. Design eye-catching window displays. And this is quite critical. I mean, it's a big backdrop for your store. Customers will be drawn to something in a shop window and come into the store. So it's really important that they are well thought out. And finally, how to link it all together. And I believe this is the most important part, really. If you get all the other things right, you still need to link it across all your channels. So we'll mention that as well. So let's start with inspiring product stories. So you need to develop, when you're buying product, really clear stories so that when they're pulled together in the retail space, your customer can really easily see what they are looking for. So build simple groupings of product, and this is even more important now, I think, because customers want something that looks really clean and easy to understand for them. So the product that you buy, it needs to work together in a very clear way so customers understand what they can buy from you. So how can you do this? There's three main ways of merchandising your product, and you should be conscious of this when you're buying the product so that it sits together within these different principles. So the first one is by product type or blocked merchandising. So this is about having a big key category and merchandising everything from that category all together. Why would you do this? This is because you will be shown to your customers a real authority in that particular category, and they can come to you and know that if they want to buy a candle, maybe, that you have a big range of candles, they're all together in one space. They can see them all together in one place and make their choice. And they may even buy 2 or 3 because they can see everything all together. I think I've just got some pictures on the next page. Yeah. So here are some examples of how that could work. So the first one here is a beautiful China display. So it's all one range merchandised together and then by colour. So the customer can see everything that's available to them within that range, every colourway and every item within the range, really simply. You can still have those items merchandised as a story somewhere else in your space, but I think it's really important to have these big categories as destination areas in your store. The one in the middle just shows cushions. I know this is a huge display, but it's to highlight that if a customer wants to come and buy cushions, they may be inspired by a display of a sofa with a particular colour cushion on it, but they probably have an idea in their head of the colour story that they want to create in their house. So they want to see every cushion that you've got on offer in one place so they can make a really informed choice and know that they haven't missed anything. And then finally on the right is bags. So again, all the bags together, so that if someone's coming in and they know they want to buy a bag, they can see them all in one place. And again, these have been beautifully merchandised by colour within that as well, so it's really easy to understand. The second way of merchandising is by lifestyle. So this is where you can pull things together and have some real fun with things and create some really strong stories and curate and create things and that are really interesting to the customer to buy and inspire them really to buy things that they might not have thought of when they came into your store, but it looks so beautiful on the shelf with everything else that they want to buy into that story. So on the left here is a great garden inspired display. So everything to do with your garden. So from watering cans to pots to the tools to the twine, everything in an eclectic display, but it still works very cohesively and looks very interesting and inspiring. And yeah, a customer may well buy a few different items from that. The middle image here I thought was quite interesting because this is product that's been merchandised purely by colour. So everything in this store that was yellow has been pulled together on the table, whether that's a book or china or a fashion accessory. And this would create a really strong visual display and highlight products that may get lost within its own destination area. So this is quite an interesting idea and maybe something, yeah, quite nice to try. And then finally, the last image is another beautifully curated display. And this has been done by colour and material. So it's quite a wide range of product, from home furnishings to china to pictures, but they've been pulled together because they have a similar look and feel. There's some wood items there and concrete items and a very muted colour palette of just 2 or 3 colours. And again, that works as a really strong way of merchandising. So you can see that if you had a mixture of the blocked and this curated lifestyle merchandising in your store, you could create some real rhythm within the space. And then the final way of merchandising and to think about how you buy your product are in customer specific curated stories. So by this I mean to really think about a specific customer that comes into your store, and what they might want to buy. So you might have a whole area that's all children's gifts or gifts for men or teenagers. And this is less about what it looks like altogether, although you can still make it look beautiful, but it's about having all the relevant product together so the customer can find what they want to buy really easily. And finally, you need to really plan and work out what all these different groupings can be. So things can go into a destination area, but then they can also move into a lifestyle area as well. So you can plan all of that right at the beginning of the season. So when you've created your product stories, what do you do next? Then you need to look at your store layout. So again, planning is critical in this point. So to plan your product and your fixture placement on paper first. Now I always do this because it's much easier to move things around on paper than in real life. And also you can plan out the whole season in advance and create monthly or even weekly layouts. It's good to do this at the beginning. Things might change, you might swap some weeks around, but I think it's really good to have it as a framework so that you know what your key focus is going to be each month or each week. So this is just a very generic sort of layout that I've done, and it can be just as simple as this, as a plan, and just you write on it those big categories. So what I've done here is, so this may be for September, say, and planned in where those big destination areas are going to be, and then on the floor fixtures in front of the areas will be a more curated lifestyle area, whether that's a table setting or a fashion story or a specific back to school stationery display next to cards and wrap would make sense in September. And also to make sure that product that's in the window is on that very first fixture when you walk into the store. So a customer can see the product in the window, walk into the store and pick up whatever they saw and take it to the cash desk immediately. That's what you ideally want. And then once you've done this, then you can see and work out how you could move it around. So in October, say, you might decide you want to bring candles and vases, which are at the back of the store at the moment, right to the front and do a swap with the fashion area. So it's just very simple and easy to do it on paper first. So when you're doing this, you need to think about a few different things. Think about the new your and when product is arriving with you, and to merchandise that towards the front of the store. Um, that might end up being in the window and then on that first table, or within or near the front of each section, is really important. Think about your best sellers as well. You know what your customer likes to buy from you, so make sure that you have obviously enough of it to sell, but also those best selling items are really easy for the customer to find. So in main sight lines, at the front of the fixture or in the middle shelf, so they can see it immediately. Destination areas, which you've already mentioned, where are those within your space? And that leads into alternating product stories and VM principles, so that you get a real rhythm in the store. If everything was merchandised exactly the same way, it would be very difficult for customers to identify where one product story ends and another one finishes. And also remember to plan in refreshing and updating product stories. So not only moving things around the space, but also creating new stories from existing product. And this is really helpful because customers will think that you've had a new delivery, and you may well not have had one. But if you change the product around, it will look new and fresh to them. So continually refresh and update those product stories. The next thing to think about is designing eye-catching window displays, and obviously as we get towards Christmas, this is something you should be really thinking about now, about how that works for you. So you should align your window displays with your store VM plans. So new product that's come in, or product that you've got a lot of that you really want to sell at a particular moment in time. That should dictate when your window displays change. And also, I think this is really a useful thing to do, is to create a basic framework that's quite generic, and then you can just swap out product stories. So that framework might be a very simple table or chest of drawers or shelving unit, or even risers that always stay in the window, and then you can swap out product onto those onto that fixture really easily, and it means you can do it really frequently as well, so you don't have everything that you sell in the window at one time, but keep it simple and just refresh it really often, is the best way to manage it. Yeah, keep it simple and clean, and again I think that's really something that's quite critical now. People are looking for something that's easy to understand, not lovely to look at, but also feels clean and smart and hygienic. So nothing that's too fussy or too much product, and really make sure that it is cleaned out every day as well, so that it looks really smart. I'm just going to talk through just a few sort of examples of this, and also connect it back to Christmas a little bit, because Christmas windows are obviously really important, but they're also one of the most difficult times of the year to design for, because I mean, there's just like everything to do with Christmas has sort of been done really, and to do it in a really beautiful way takes quite a lot of thought. So I think you've got some different options. These are a couple of window displays that are done. Obviously, they're very graphic, but they're also on a colour theme. So there's been a big trend for white Christmas windows. Everything just white in there. It looks really impactful, but you could do it on any other colour. So it could be all gold or all red. But white has been a bit of a trend for the last few years. And I love this window on the left. I think it was a local artist that came and drew these beautiful floral patterns on the window. But what it highlights to me is that there is also a really good framework in there for displaying objects. So there's the shelves in the window, there's the lower shelf to put product on, and a cube riser. And there's a really good story of grey and cream china in there. which works as a whole. So next week, that could all be taken out and a whole different product story could be put in there, whether that was a different colour range or maybe a different product. So maybe all vases or, I don't know, fashion items, whatever it is can be changed very simply, but the scheme still stay the same. And then on the right hand here is, I know it's a fashion window, but a very simple decal. And I think you can buy these off the shelf, actually, these snowflake decals on the window. It gives a really strong Christmas message. And then you can have your display behind it, whether it's a mannequin or a product display. Very simple, but very beautifully done. Another option for Christmas is to go completely the other way, go completely contemporary. And this is Heels, and they've chosen, very bright fluorescent colours, which is visually very impactful, but it's still got a Christmas theme to it. And the window here on the left, again, has a really good framework in there. There's Perspex cubes and boxes with product on them, again, which can be changed. The product can be swapped and the schemes stay the same. But what's also important here is that they then linked it in store. So a flavour of the window is linked onto the table here with more Christmas gifting on it. And that's something that's really important to think about. So whatever you do in your window, maybe think about having a few elements of the display on that front table as you walk in, and also peppered throughout the store so that you have a real Christmas theme within the whole space. So that, links quite easily onto the linking it all together part of the process. So in the actual retail space, as we talked about, it's important to link your window with your front table, and then touches of Christmas can be then peppered throughout the rest of the store. So that's at retail in your bricks and mortar space. But you also need to think about how that translates online. So if you go really bright contemporary colours in store, do that online as well, on your website, on your any social media that you do. So the graphics, the messaging, the photography, and also your product stories need to mirror and work with what you've done in store. And finally, also think about all those other opportunities around all of this. So gift wrapping, obviously you could link that to your theme for Christmas. So if you went for an all white Christmas theme, how about doing all white Christmas wrapping, so it sort of continues the whole story for customers. Instagram and Facebook live events or special offers are really important, and at Christmas it's an ideal opportunity to do that and really showcase your store, and people will have the opportunity to buy from you, but also they may think, wow, that looks so amazing, I'm actually going to go and visit the store now as well. Appointment shopping is going to be something that becomes more and more important, I believe. And so at Christmas, there's a big opportunity to do that, because you could ask customers what the Christmas list from particular people are, and you could pull together a very personalised experience for them and help them buy exactly what they want. And finally, think about service and delivery. What options do you give to customers which they're still going to really want to do? Is things like the click and collect, curbside pickup, so they don't have to come into the store. Can you do free personal local delivery within a small area? Anything that adds extra value to your customer and really makes them want to come into the space is going to help you. So key takeaways from what I've been speaking about, there's lots to think about, obviously, but the four main things are to create strong product stories, make sure that you've got a flexible product range that can work across the whole space. Plan your store layouts and your VM principles. Get it down on paper. Do it month by month. It's a really good starting point. Keep window displays simple and refresh them frequently. Don't put everything in the window at once. Keep some things back. Make it look really special when it's in there, and you'll really drive customers through the door. And finally, link all your channels together visually. So you're creating one whole story of your brand and your shop for your customer. So that's it. Thank you very much for listening. Now I think we're going to go to some questions.